Yo, what is up guys, Sim King here, back again with another video, and in today's video we are going to be reviewing episode 13 of Reality Resort, which ends up being another amazing episode, debatably my favorite episode so far, where like in the musical episode we get a really fun challenge, great development between everyone, and a really good boot. Or should I say, boots. I'll be going through the episode, then talk about the eliminated contestants, and then wrap things up with a ranking of every character left in the game, ranking them based on likability, gameplay, and their likelihood to win, so yeah, let's just get started. We started this episode at the dinner table where Marcus attempts to give Brad advice on how to fix things with Sarah since he reminds him of himself, and doesn't want Brad to turn out like he did. And I think it is a nice callback earlier on in the season where Marcus says that Brad reminds him of himself. I like that even though it would be Marcus' last episode, he was slowly becoming kinder and a more helpful person instead of his proactive schemes. However, this conversation doesn't last long because they're playing a murder mystery game, where there are 9 drinks with 5 daggers, but only one holds true power and they become the secret immunity winner, which is obviously replicating the secret HOH twist in Big Brother Canada, and while that twist almost never works with real people since everyone has loose lips and it's a lot easier to tell, here though, since everyone is so guarded in distance, this makes it all the more interesting. Topaz starts things off by saying that she doesn't want a dagger, and VJ follows that sentiment only for Marcus to say that they're bluffing. Brad tells Finn to swap with him, so they trade, and Olive and Isidore trade as well, only for Isidore to swap with Sarah. Then Brad questions Sarah, asking her what her name is, where she's from, and if she has a dagger, to which she says no to the final question, but Brad clearly doesn't buy it, but plays it off and doesn't push any further. Then Brad and VJ swap. Then we get to the Drew of it all, who really is the star of the episode, where he straight up just calls Finn a sus cowboy and predicts that there is no real dagger, and it's a production ploy. And after his tangent, Topaz tells everyone that whoever wins should just off Drew instantly, and it's all just really funny. And we get a few more montages of exchanges before the challenge ends. The next morning, the person axed is Isidore. Honestly, I was kind of hopping off the Isidore and Drew boat after Monica kept proclaiming they were her kids, so I felt kind of weird shipping them. Plus, it doesn't help that the show for the last few episodes has leaned into their Edwin and Lizzie side compared to their Derek and Casey start.
Your references are out of control, everyone knows that.
But the way Isidore looks at Drew after he screams is really cute, considering that she doesn't even know it was him who got her out. But with Isidore being eliminated from the challenge, she does have safety for the round. We're back at the Among Us emergency room meeting, and everyone is debating, and the accusations point to the people who are closest to Isidore, and Drew jumps in by making a conspiracy that it actually was him, which no one really actually pays that much attention to Drew, just because he's just being Drew, all but a certain frat king. Brad makes a defense for him and Sarah, claiming that Sarah would never stab a friend in the back, and he directs his focus onto VJ, but VJ ends up deflecting, blaming Finn. Sarah then suspects Olive since she did trade with Isidore, and the two aren't exactly on the best of terms, and everyone assumes Olive because she's a chaos agent. But when it's time to reveal if they suss out the traitor, it turns out they didn't, and it will remain a secret, and they get to nominate 3 people instead of the usual 2, which 3 nominees is something that I'm not completely against here, unlike with Big Brother, probably just because it is a one-time thing here, and I think it gives the mystery aspect a lot more weight as the seem. Marcus just tells everyone that it's best to keep their thoughts and who they voted for as a secret, since they'll never know who's telling the truth if they do that. But we still get some worthwhile discussions here, with Brad telling Topaz that he doesn't believe it's her, Drew assuming that it's Finn because of his weird behavior, since he wanted to nominate either him or Isidore before Monica offered herself up, and also Marcus has been giving him information. Brad smiles at Sarah, and Isidore looks upset since he just did Sarah dirty last episode, but she does see that she can learn a lot from Sarah in regards to forgiveness. At night, in private, Topaz catches the immunity with Brad secretly watching her. In the morning, Olive is assigned as a reject and has to honk her nose horn whenever she speaks. This makes VJ tease her so she can use her horn, and it's all pretty fun. I just honestly love these two together. Speaking of characters that I love together, we have Marcus and VJ having a heart-to-heart about their personal lives and trying not to self-sabotage. It's all good until VJ tells Marcus that he doesn't think he's the traitor, only for Marcus to get upset by this and call him a liar. And man, I really do feel bad for VJ here. He was definitely a scheming guy at first, but he seems to have genuinely changed and he's all alone, and I just feel bad. But I also love all of this since VJ is facing repercussions for hurting and betraying other people. We finally get our second birthday party with Brad, and Finn is the one to set it all up. But I'm not diving into this bromance just yet, I'm talking about the showmance and the scene that Brad and Sarah have, where the two talk about how she lied about having the dagger, and she says that she hates lying. Brad, being the smooth talking king that he is, says that that's one of the reasons why he likes her, and he also apologizes again for everything that happened last episode. Sarah admits that she likes him too, and that she does believe in giving second chances. And this leads to Brad opening up about his past relationship in high school where he got dumped and tried to shake it off off, but it obviously hurt more than he wanted to admit it. He also tells Sarah about his relationship with this girl in college, where his paranoia caused him to overreact when his girlfriend brought another guy who ended up being her cousin to a party. He tells her that he has bad impulse control and he wants to change. Brad tells her that he has bad impulse control and that he wants to change, and Sarah comforts him for opening up. And then she talks about how she's insecure because she's a girl like her and Brad is a Chad. But he tells her that it isn't fair for either of them, and Sarah teases him and reminds him that he still owes her a birthday party. And honestly, I just love these two together. They are so naturally great together. This conversation was very much needed, and I love that they can have a civil discussion instead of just yelling at each other. It's nice to see them at peace, and honestly, they're so cute together. I just love them. This conversation also reminded me that I haven't gotten over wholesome characters because I just love Sarah here. Does she borderline on Mary Sue if you really think about it? Yes, but I think she is a really important character to the season beyond her dynamic with Brad. Because while Isidore is eavesdropping, she asks Finn if she's too negative, but Finn assures her that she has a good head on her shoulders and that she'll figure out who she is when she gets older. And Isidore looks at Sarah longingly, smiling before she leaves, and I do think Isidore will start to become a kinder person, and hopefully that starts with Drew so we can finally get the cool girl loser boyfriend trope that I've been searching for. The nominees for the week end up being Brad, Marcus, and Finn, and they're sent to the challenge where they have to figure out who the traitor is. And if they guess incorrectly, they are eliminated. It is a brutal challenge, and it's high stakes, high reward, since all three could stay or go theoretically. We see that all three do want to work together, but then Marcus and Brad clash, since Marcus thinks it's VJ for his past reputation, and Brad suspects it's Drew because Drew is just overacting. And I love seeing Marcus, who is a lawyer, debate with a frat leader. Finn, being a passive man, decides to just go with Marcus instead of Brad's hunch, and that ends up costing him the game as he and Marcus are eliminated and Brad ends up staying. But who even gives a shit because we get this.
Let's go, baby! You can control me, writers! I can see the Matrix!
At the dock, it's a somber scene where Finn and Brad share their final moment together, and it's a pretty sweet moment. VJ and Marcus shake hands, and I like that the two are on good terms. Then Marcus and Finn walk out together, and this already goes so hard since the two had a heated rivalry for most of the season, but if you ship this to Meowies, this is honestly just peak cinema. Finally, we have Victoria saying goodbye to the two, telling them to say hi to Monica for her, but not Annalise, which, I mean, I understand, but I just don't agree, since Annalise is a queen. But we do lose Finn and Marcus, and let's just talk about them, starting off with Finn, who while I definitely thought was a goof at first, like Annalise, he really won me over on the rewatch, where I'm sorry I'm about to get all Next Generation heavy and just Cove lore on you guys, but stay with me. I feel like while Cove was making Finn, he definitely had a Brendan mindset. Now, if you know Brendan as a character, or just looking at this image of Brendan, you're wondering what could these two possibly have in common? Well, for one, they're both characters coming into the competition with their lives recently changed. Brendan was a bullied nerd to a fit dude, and Finn was in a toxic relationship before ending things off. The two characters also have a lot of internal conflicts that hurt them in the game. Brendan with his self-image issues, which lead him to being a bad team leader, and for Finn, it's not taking agency in situations. Obviously, there's a lot more nuance in the whole Kylie and Cheryl debacle, but like Marcus implied, Finn is just a pushover in his natural state. I don't think Finn handled the Kylie or Cheryl rounds well, and he was still a wreck over Patricia, but he just needed to focus. But to continue with my Brendan comparison, I feel like Finn is a very what you see is what you get kind of character, and looking at Brendan and my brief summary on him, that's pretty much all you really need to know about Brendan. I like both characters for who they are, but there's really not that much to explore with them. I remember watching Cove's postseason lives, and I always remembered hearing him talk about how Brendan was a harder character to write, since there's not a whole lot you can do with him, and I think the same was for Finn as well. But I do think that Finn was greatly utilized while he was there though. Despite him trying to figure it all out as well, he does help out Brad with his whole girl trouble. And I also love the friendship that they share. Plus, I think it's sweet that he sets up Brad's birthday party. Him and Kylie are cute, but I don't think he deserves Kylie. However, take that take with a grain of salt, since I just really like Kylie and I just do not want to see her get hurt by Finn ever again. Overall though, Finn, while definitely not my favorite character, he definitely is a memorable one. Now for Marcus, who is entertainment gold. If I already loved a drunk alcoholic divorced man on another fan-made show, I'm going to love this one as well. Marcus is Alec if he had no filter, a man that takes every strategic opportunity to make a show out of everything, and unlike Spencer in Disventure Camp, it's made a lot better since a lot of his schemes in the pre-jury phase do eventually work. He's the reason why 3 of the 5 pre-mergers go home. And we have to talk about his brutal note to Monica, trying to make her say that she could never love her kids, which was sick. Sick in a brutal way, obviously, but you guys know what I mean. It was just a peak moment. I love villains who just don't hold back, and there's so much of that with Marcus, and he's so damn entertaining. Really, he is in a way the star of the season, being the driver of a lot of great conflicts. Marcus is Alec and fans were the favorites if he actually got a shot. I find Marcus to be a super interesting character beyond the theatrics. He is a divorced man dealing with the fact that his wife and kids hate him. Even if he can be cold at points, I find a lot of his responses to be fair despite his harsh wording at points. He's a villain who acts this way because it's the only way he knows how to succeed. But Monica's words are really what makes him start to change. That and Finn telling him to quit digging a bigger hole for himself. These two are each other's yin and yang, and really are the missing pieces to make their characters a lot more understandable and rootable. I think Marcus is an incredible villain who played an interesting game that I can't wait to cover when the season wraps up, so I can do my gameplay rankings. But that's the episode review, an overall very stellar episode. Now it's time to do the rankings and talk about each character. Like I said, I'll be starting things off with my personal rankings of them in the episode, then their position at this point in the game, and then end off with their likelihood of winning. In dead last, my least favorite character of the episode is Topaz. She didn't get to do a whole lot, she doesn't really want the attention on her, which is fair considering her injury. We see that she's wary of Brad even when he tells her that he doesn't think that she's a traitor. Plus, she looks shocked that Brad knew about her playing the immunity, so I wonder if that'll mean anything. But yeah, Topaz just didn't get a whole lot to do outside of just bashing Drew, which was pretty funny, so yeah, she's still pretty cool. At number 6, we have Olive. Same thing as Topaz, wasn't that important to the overall episode. However, she does eat up the screen time that she does have, like when they were swapping the daggers or discussing who got out Isidore. At number 5, we have VJ. I like that VJ still has ways to go if he'll ever gain someone's trust back. But I still like that he is going to try like he did with Marcus. Plus, him teasing Olive is pretty funny, and also him and Brad do have some tension. Well, I don't personally ship it, but you know, it's worth mentioning. At number 4, we have Sarah. I love how sweet and caring that she is here. Her holding onto Brad's arm after the battle was everything to me, and I just love them together. At number 3, we have Brad. Brad being able to suss out Drew is insanely peak and just proves how good he is at reading people when he isn't being clouded by emotions. Plus, his lore drop was insane. Brad is definitely a flawed hero, kind of like James in Adventure Camp Season 2, but obviously changed their initial red flags. But I love that he admits that he wants to change because I personally believe him, though I may be a biased source. At number 2 is Isidore. Lately, Isidore has been helping Sarah with Brad for the past few episodes and has been a safe space for her. However, this episode we get to see her be really introspective in how she's perceived by others. She wants to be more like Sarah, and honestly, outside of a more healthy dynamic with Drew, I'm curious to see where they'll go with this new plotline. But I'm still excited nonetheless, plus Isidore is just awesome and I need her. With Drew. Totally. At number 1, the mastermind, it's Drew. Drew played in damn near everyone's faces and sent 2 people that he thought were playing in his face gone. He's so funny, dorky, and weird, but I love every second that Drew is on my screen just being Drew. The way no one accused him at first due to his actions is just peak. Drew getting a laugh at the writers is weirdly wholesome, even if he is delusional. Now let's do my positioning based on gameplay, and the player in the worst spot is Olive. This episode was a dunk on Olive as far as her positioning goes. People see her as a messy player, and I don't even know if it's a guarantee that VJ will keep her. Speaking of VJ, at number 6 we have VJ who no one trusts as well. The only reason why he's higher is because I think out of sympathy Sarah would let him slide through another round since she's so perplexed by him. Plus, Isidore hates Olive as well. At number 5, we have Topaz. Outside of Brad, no one is protecting nor cares for this woman. At number 4, we have the mastermind Drew. Hot take, but I think as soon as Olive is gone, Drew will be for sure the new target. I can see Sarah and Brad keeping VJ for a round longer just to snipe out the unpredictable beast. At number 3, we have Isidore. Olive is targeting her. That's pretty much the only reason why she's here. At number 2, we have the most out in front player of the season, and it's Brad. I think Brad is actually in a better spot threat management wise than with Finn gone, since the target on the other side will either be towards Drew or Isidore. However, Brad is still Brad and he is a big threat. And the person who I think stands the best shot gameplay wise is Sarah. She's literally nice, quiet, and likable, the woman version of Hunter in the beta, only with a better personality. Okay, final ranking based on their likelihood to win the season, and at dead last, it's Olive. I do not see a way for Olive to recover, since everyone already knows that she's full of it and will probably be one of the next few characters eliminated. At number 6, we have Topaz. This episode she got no content, which isn't a good sign, with no update on her injury this episode. I think it's clear her downfall will be something physical. At number 5, it's Drew. He did his big one, but he's such a meme that I doubt that they'll ever make him a winner. He has no storyline set up with him as the main driving force. Brad is mad at him, and maybe he and Isidore might get together. But since Drew is so comic relief, I actually doubt that he'll have any agency in the storyline, so I just doubt he'll be long for the endgame. At number 4, it's VJ. I think the show is setting him up for a deep underdog run, but will probably be the fallen angel of the season. At number 3, we have Brad. Honestly, I think the best way for Brad's character to conclude is with him proving himself to Sarah with his actions, and I think that can make him go home trying to protect Sarah, in the same way he almost went home trying to impress Annalise. I don't think Reality Resort is going to take Brad to the final 2 to end up losing a jury vote, so I think this outcome is more likely. At number 2, we have Isidore. Isidore is a lock for the endgame. With her still wanting to prove herself and try to be a better person, there's no way that she's leaving just yet. She has allies protecting her and wins in a jury vote against most people left. At number 1, it's Sarah. This was a very good episode for Sarah's winning chances. Her and Brad are an unofficial couple, Isidore loves her, and even though she wasn't primarily the focus of the episode, she was a major highlight. The reason why I'm really confident in Sarah's winning chances over someone like Isidore is because she's a quiet girl next door who, while she got outplayed at points, never went mean-spirited or used dirty-handed tactics, and I think that will be rewarded. I'm just not completely sold yet that Isidore can do a full 180 of her character and strategy to win the game. But that's the episode review and analysis. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, love you guys so much, and peace out.